Welcome to Agoracom's Small Cap Breaking News, your daily go-to source for the best small cap headlines for over 65 million investors since 2007. Today, we're ripping through a stack of fresh press releases that just hit the wire, bringing you the most compelling updates from the small cap world. We're talking validation breakthroughs, significant drill results, key defense positioning, nuclear-grade material achievement, and major resource depth extensions. These are the raw data points, the nuggets you need.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here isn't just the individual company wins, but how these milestones connect directly to these major shifts happening. Material science, critical minerals, defense tech, energy infrastructure. We're going to cut through the noise, pull out the critical details, and show you why these headlines really matter in the bigger picture.
Right. So let's dive straight into the news that's breaking today for you. Kicking us off, we've got news from HPQ Silicon Inc. You can find them on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol HPQ. The headline grabbed my attention immediately. HPQ Silicon validates groundbreaking fumed silica technology with industry giants' endorsement.
Yeah, this is a significant step for HPQ Silicon. That's HPQ on the TSXV and HPQFF on the OTCQB. They announced that a leading global fumed silica manufacturer, a real heavyweight, over 80 years in the business, tested their material.
Yeah.
And validated it.
Validated it? How so?
Well, the court feedback was simple, but powerful. The product is fumed silica, full stop. This moves it beyond just, potential to confirm product quality. And from a major player, an end user.
Okay, so the industry giant says, yep, that's the stuff. That's huge validation. But what really jumped out at me in this release was the speed they mentioned. They talk about an accelerated feedback loop. Testing used to take, over a month?
Right, through university labs.
And now it's down to just 5 business days working directly with this manufacturer. How big of a deal is that speed for HPQ?
Oh, that speed is crucial. Absolutely crucial. It means they can optimize their process much, much faster. Remember, they have this proprietary one-step plasma-based process. Think using super hot energy plasma to turn quartz directly into fumed silica. Bypasses a lot of steps. So faster testing lets them fine-tune that unique process incredibly rapidly. And they also validated scalability collected usable product from a commercial-grade baghouse recovery unit.
A baghouse? Like a big industrial filter?
Exactly. Catches the fumed silica dust. So it shows they can collect it at a relevant scale.
So they're proving the science works, it works quickly, and they can collect it efficiently. Plus, the release points out their process is cleaner, less energy intensive. Sounds like they're really aiming to shake things up.
That's definitely the implication. A cleaner, potentially more efficient process, now validated by a major player that positions them as a serious disruptor. And having that direct access to the manufacturer's testing facilities, well, it just accelerates their path towards commercialization.
Commercialization meaning?
Could be licensing the tech, maybe securing offtake agreements. It's a clear signal they're moving from R&D towards, potential revenue. And we've already seen investor interest pick up, right? Recent private placement subscriptions over $500,000.
Yeah, that direct line for validation and faster iteration seems like a massive advantage. Their CEO, Bernard Tourion, put it well. He said, gaining direct access is a rare and valuable opportunity. It significantly accelerates our validation efforts, and our confidence in this proprietary process to disrupt conventional production methods continues to grow. That really nails the strategic value, doesn't it?
It really does. It underscores everything.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk critical minerals. We're looking at NevGold Corp, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol NAU. The headline here is interesting. NevGold expands gold-antimony discovery in Nevada, tapping strategic critical minerals opportunity.
Right. This news from NevGold Corp, that's NAU on the TSXV and NAUFF on the OTCQX. It focuses on new drill results from the Cadillac Valley target at their Limousine Butte project in Nevada. The key takeaway, they've confirmed consistent oxide gold-antimony mineralization, and it's over a significant strike length now, measuring 1.7 kilometers.
Wow, 1.7 kilometers, that gives you a real sense of the potential scale there.
Yeah.
Let's dig into the numbers, the drill results, because that's what investors scrutinize, right? They reported some strong intercepts near surface too. What were the highlights?
Yeah, some key results definitely stand out. Hole LB119, for instance, hit 2.28 grams per ton. Gold equivalent over 30.5 meters.
Okay.
And importantly, within that, there was a higher grade section, right? 1.29 grams per ton gold and 0.22% antimony.
Antimony too, okay.
Exactly. Then he had LB155 with 1.01 GeoEQ over 36.6 meters. LB141 hit 1.03 GeoEQ over 12.2 meters. And Lim18, that one delivered 0.86 GeoEQ over 22.9 meters. Seeing multiple holes hit across that, extended 1.7-kilometer strike. And showing these kinds of near-surface significant intercepts, that provides some really solid data points.
Okay, so solid gold equivalent numbers, hitting both gold and antimony. And relatively close to the surface, which is often, well, pretty important for potential economics down the line. But the headline mentions that strategic critical minerals opportunity. Why is this gold-antimony discovery particularly strategic right now? What's the deal with antimony?
That raises a really critical question, actually. Antimony, it might not get the headlines like lithium or copper, but it's absolutely vital, especially for national security. Certain advanced tech.
Like what?
Ammunition, for one. Semiconductors use it, too. And the critical context here is, well, the U.S. currently has no active antimony mines. Zero. They rely heavily on imports. And add to that, China recently announced export restrictions on certain minerals, including antimony.
Ah, okay. Supply chain vulnerability.
Exactly. The U.S. government has even invoked the Defense Production Act to try and fast-track domestic mining of critical minerals like antimony.
So NevGold developing a potentially significant gold-antimony asset right there in Nevada within North America that could position them to help fill a really critical supply gap, a mineral needed for national security.
Precisely. It connects the geology directly to the geopolitics and the economics. It adds a whole different strategic layer.
Makes sense.
And their CEO, Brandon Bonifacio, stated, the recent set of oxide gold antimony results from Cadillac Valley significantly increases the size of the mineralization footprint. He also said, we are focused on advancing both Resurrection Ridge and Cadillac Valley to the mineral resource estimate stage in 2025. So their focus is clearly on proving up the scale and value here.
Got it. Okay, switching gears completely now. Defense technology. From Dragonfly Inc., trading on the CSE, symbol DPRO. The headline highlights a major national initiative. Canada's $80 billion defense push elevates Dragonfly as key player in national security modernization. Big numbers.
Huge numbers. This is about Canada making a really significant commitment to modernizing its defense capabilities. $80 billion package. And a key focus within that is domestic production and integrating advanced tech like unmanned aerial systems, UAS, drones.
Drones, right.
So Dragonfly, trading as DPRO on both NASDAQ and the CSE, they announced they successfully integrated a specific radio communication system, one mandated by the Department of National Defense, the DND. They got it working on their drone platforms. And this is a critical technical step, basically a prerequisite for their drones to even be considered for defense use.
Okay, so they've ticked the technical compliance box, meeting the DND's specific radio requirements, but the headline calls them a key player. What else positions Dragonfly specifically to benefit from this Canadian defense spend, maybe compared to international firms?
Yeah, good question. Several things stand out. First, domestic production capability. That's huge right now.
Made in Canada.
Exactly. They control their own IP. They manufacture right there in Canada. Governments everywhere are emphasizing sovereign supply chains for critical stuff. Right? This fits perfectly. Second, they mentioned Five Eyes alignment. That means their systems are built with interoperability in mind. They can potentially work seamlessly with key allies, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand.
Ah, okay. Strategic compatibility.
Right, and with government RFIs and RFPs requests for information, proposals expected soon, having a platform that's already technically compliant and built domestically, well, that gives them a potential first-mover edge.
It really sounds like they've strategically positioned themselves to meet the specific demands of this new era of Canadian defense spending, prioritizing domestic capability, secure supply lines.
Precisely. And if you look at the bigger picture, some reports suggest maybe up to 20% of that massive $80 billion could go towards next-gen battlefield tech, like drones.
Wow, that's a huge potential market slice.
It is. And Dragonfly already has proven field readiness. They've worked with both U.S. and Canadian military partners before. So this new integration, plus their domestic infrastructure, it clearly positions them to compete for a significant piece of this investment. They offer a Canadian alternative.
As the company statement put it, with this integration and our domestic manufacturing capabilities, we're positioned to support Canada's defense modernization goals with secure, interoperable UAS platforms. Sums it up nicely.
Perfectly.
All right, next up, another critical material. Graphite. From Focus Graphite Advanced Materials, Inc., trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol FMS. This headline is very specific, quite striking. Focus Graphite hits nuclear-grade milestone with 5N purity achievement at NAUFF project.
Yeah, this is genuinely potentially game-changing for Focus Graphite. That's FMS on the TSXV, FCSMF on the OTCQB. They announced they achieved an incredibly high carbon purity level, 99.9992%. That's what the industry calls 5N purity.
Oh, well then.
And importantly, this was validated by AETC using a specific halogen-free thermal purification process.
Okay, 5N purity, 99.99992%. Why is that specific level so critical? And what does nuclear grade actually mean for Focus Graphite in practical terms?
Well, that 5N level, that's the purity the nuclear industry demands for certain applications. Think advanced nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
Hitting this milestone means their graphite from their NAUFF deposit can meet those incredibly stringent specs. It opens the door to a very high-value sector.
High value how?
The pricing upside. That's what's really compelling for investors here. Materials with this kind of 5N purity, they're valued way, way higher than standard graphite, potentially US $30,000 to $35,000 per ton.
Whoa! Compare that to standard battery graphite prices.
Exactly. It's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So this achievement potentially unlocks access to a completely different, much higher value market segment for their material.
And you mentioned they used a halogen-free thermal process. Why is that significant? Just the how?
Well, traditional purification often uses pretty harsh chemicals like hydrofluoric acid, environmentally challenging, potentially hazardous. A halogen-free thermal process uses heat instead. So achieving 5N purity using only thermal processing, that validates it as more environmentally friendly, potentially safer. It aligns better with modern sustainability needs.
That's a key point, not just the what, the purity, but the how. And this seems to fit right into that broader theme we keep seeing, reshoring critical supply chains, especially for strategic sectors like nuclear energy.
Absolutely. Nuclear is seeing a global resurgence, getting big government support in North America.
Right.
Now, getting into the nuclear supply chain, that's complex. It takes years, rigorous qualification. But this achievement proves their NAUFF material can meet the standard. It's a crucial technical validation. It positions them strategically in that whole conversation about secure North American supply for essential energy infrastructure. Their VP of Corporate Development, Jason Latkowser, said it well.
What did he say?
He said, achieving 5N purity from NAUFF graphite through thermal processing alone provides strong technical and commercial validation of our material. We're advancing toward our goal of supplying secure, high-purity natural graphite from a North American source. It's about security and high value.
Security and value. Got it. Okay, finally today, let's turn to copper. From Osisko Metals Incorporated, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol OM, the headline focuses on continued exploration success. Osisko Metals delivers strong copper intercepts at Gaspé, extends resource depth below 2024 estimate.
Right, Osisko Metals, that's OM on the TSXV, OMZNF on the OTCQX. They've released new copper drill results from their big Gaspé copper project up in Quebec. And what's particularly exciting here is that these results, well, they're extending the known mineralization significantly deeper, way past the boundaries of their already substantial November 2024 mineral resource estimate, the MRE.
Extending the resource at depth, that always sounds promising for scale. Let's get into the specifics, though, the drill results. That's the proof for investors, right? What do they hit below the existing resource?
They reported some really impressive lengths and grades. Take drill hole 30-1075. It intersected a very wide zone, 258 meters, averaging 0.33% copper.
258 meters, wow.
Yeah, but within that, they hit a high-grade zone, 15.6 meters, at a much richer 1.47% copper, plus 8.5 grams per ton silver.
Nice kicker.
And crucially, this same hole hit a second mineralized intercept, 96 meters, averaging 0.54% copper. And this second hit was located below the limits of their 2024 MRE.
Okay, below the line, that's key.
Exactly. Other strong results, too. 31076 hit 208.4 meters at 0.40% copper, including a high-grade chunk of 12 meters at 1.91% copper. And in the C-zone, skarns often host high-grade stuff hole. 32N70 hit 122.8 meters at 0.62% copper, including a really nice 25.6 meters at 2.19% copper.
Wow, those are some long intercepts, solid grades, and confirming mineralization well below an already massive resource estimate. That's a pretty big deal, isn't it? How does this change the picture for Gaspé?
It connects directly to the project's ultimate potential scale and value. I mean, Gaspé copper is already recognized as the largest undeveloped copper resource in eastern North America.
Largest undeveloped?
Yeah, the 2024 MRE had over 824 million tons indicated and 670 million tons inferred. Massive numbers. And copper, well, it's absolutely essential for electrification, the energy transition. Everyone needs it.
True.
So extending the mineralization deeper and continuing to hit these high-grade skarn zones, it significantly enhances the project's long-term potential, its sheer size. And it's a huge, secure domestic copper option located in mining-friendly Quebec with existing infrastructure. That's increasingly rare, especially with potential copper supply deficits looming globally.
So these drill results aren't just adding a few meters here and there. They're showing this already enormous resource probably has substantial untapped potential still waiting at depth.
That's the message. As Bernard-Olivier Martel, the independent QP overseeing the work, noted, this phase of drilling continues to demonstrate that Gaspé copper remains open at depth and laterally. He added, we are encouraged by the thick intercepts and high-grade skarn mineralization beyond the limits of the 2024 resource. It clearly supports their plan to update that huge MRE again, likely in early 2026.
Right. So quite a range today. We've ripped through breaking news showing HPQ Silicon validating their tech, NevGold expanding that critical gold-antimony discovery, Dragonfly positioning itself for Canada's big defense spend, Focus Graphite hitting nuclear-grade purity, and Osisko Metals extending a major copper resource even deeper. Lots happening.
Yeah, and these aren't just, announcements for the sake of it. They are tangible technical and geological achievements. The actual validation tests, the specific drill grades and lengths, the confirmed system integrations, the purity numbers. These are the data points that show real momentum, potential value creation across diverse, really strategic sectors, and all reported through Agoracom's small-cap breaking news feed.
And for you, the listener, these details, well, they're the crucial insights, aren't they? They offer compelling reasons to maybe take a deeper look yourself. Do your own research into these companies, their tech, their place in these evolving markets.
Definitely. And maybe consider this. In a world that's increasingly focused on secure domestic supply chains, the energy transition, rapidly advancing technology, how might these specific breakthroughs we talked about today in fumed silica, critical minerals like antimony and nuclear graphite, defense tech, copper, how might they reshape the landscape, not just for these small cap companies, but for the key industries they're aiming to supply? What strategic opportunities might be hiding just beneath these headlines?
Something to think about. For more breaking small cap news and insights, you can follow Agoracom.